So, are there more such stories which you have not disclosed in this book and just kept to yourself, which you will reveal some other time?
Hussain, this takes me back to a discussion we had in my van a month back, where I thought you were joking, but you were actually serious. He said that Hussain actually came up and said, Imran, this book is doing so well. I'm greedy. I want to tell you to write another book. I was like, I have no experience to share right now. I just shared this the biggest experience of my life. And now Hussain will tell you first the title of the book that he wanted me to write now. Please tell them the title of the book.
Let's keep it secret, Imran. We'll do it when we do it.
It's about, just at least tell them what it's about.
Okay, you tell. You go ahead and do this.
I think that's the title, no? Title bata do. Big I am. I might act as a smooth guy on screen. But if you ask my wife for a hope.
Yeah, he proposed his wife in a lift saying, can we, marry?
Yeah.
Something of that
By the way.
Yeah, by the way.
I got rejected like 3 times. So that's the love guru for you. I think I'd make a disastrous book.
But
I don't think I
no, but imagine if he, despite being such a hopeless romantic, is known as serial kisser everywhere. And those movies where he has not kissed has been a miserable flop. For example, Shanghai. What other movies were there?
Thankfully, some films where I have not kissed also have flopped. So, which I've kissed also have flopped.
Okay.
So, there's the equation got balanced over there.
And I'm not writing that book, sir.
That's okay. Imran will write alone this time, I guess. But well, I thought he could be successful love guru if he wants to write that book.
I think about it.
Yeah.
I think I'll actually give it a thought.
So guys, there's any questions now? We can ask questions from Imran and Bilal. Yes.
Sit down and ask. Camera. Hello, Imran.
Hi.
Firstly, I'd like to admit that I'm the biggest Imran Hasmi fan maybe in the country. So much so that my engagement was Imran Hasmi based theme.
Pretty convenient.
I'm assuming things now about the engagement. I'm getting visuals in my head.
It was based on your songs. So
Okay.
I'll stick to the
That's good.
theme of this event. So I'd like to ask you, you were been through this crisis journey, and what are the things you learned about yourself as an individual in this journey, and what are the positives which you could draw from this experience?
That was the hardest chapter to pen down because I didn't fully know how it had changed me, and it took a lot of time. It took me roughly 2 months. I was shooting for Azhar in London, and then I kept thinking about it because it's like any crisis, any trauma, death changes you. A trauma like this in your family changes you, and you don't fully understand or comprehend how it's changed you. But then, when I realized it, I started penning it down, and it was actually going back to a race that my son ran, and we didn't want him to run that race because he had just come back with chemotherapy and he was very frail, and there was going to be sun there with the mud there, and we thought he's going to fall sick because his immunity was low, and something miraculously happened. It was not short of a miracle because when he started running the race, he was very frail. He took 3 steps and he fell hard on the floor, and he got himself up and he ran as fast as he could. He ran 5 steps and he fell again. He got up again, he ran, and he finished that race. And I remember that visual of him turning around over his shoulder. He smiled at me and he put his thumbs up. And that was the wisdom that I got in my life that probably 10 wise men haven't taught me in so many years. That life's going to hit you time and again. It's going to hit you very hard. And you're going to fall, and you're going to fall hard. And however shaky your feet, you must get up and roll with the punches. And that's something a 5-year-old taught me. And that gave me perspective to life and made me feel that personal issues, professional issues are so trivial. When you have a kid come into the world and at the age of 3.5 battle a disease like this and still has a smile on his face through all of this, what are we complaining about? He has a smile right now. So he's a rock star. So this is what's changed me. This is what gives me perspective to keep moving on and have a sense of optimism. Responsibility is one, because I find myself as being a very irresponsible person. I try to take on responsibility as much as I can. Having a son has changed that. That has given me a certain responsibility to act and behave in a way that he would aspire to be someone like me and be a role model for him. So that, to a certain extent, has brought in a kind of responsible part of me through this. I don't know what he's doing right now. I think he's changing the time. Yeah.
Hi everybody. Bilal, my question is to you. It's a fantastic book, and we have seen the actor's journey and the father's journey. How difficult or easy was the author's journey for something that you may not have felt yourself? You are not a father yet. So how was it to encode and decode and present it so beautifully?
That's one of the first things that came to my mind before I took this project on. The fact that I'm not a father. And also, I will probably never be able to understand what he went through, because it is a complex, I mean, there's not one particular emotion you're hit with when you hear something like that. It's what I pretty much had to rely on was the censor and his Imran sir's accounting of what happened, and from there I had to actually get into his head, and luckily he narrated the incident to me as many times as was needed until I got it just right. And even if I did falter at times, he did rewrite that portion. And as a person, it has certainly changed me a lot, the way I look at life now, the way I learn to take the small things. I mean, I learned not to take the small things for granted. The way I don't know, my food habits haven't changed much. I still have 5 Cokes, I have 2 now.
Unless I'm on the table, I keep taunting him.
Then I have 1. And so, yes, it was a complex book to write, and I know this is just my 2nd book, and even if I write 10 more, none of them will be as special as this one was. So, in that sense, yes, it was quite a journey, and I'm grateful it happened. Thank you.
Imran, any possibilities of turning this book into a movie?
I don't know how it would lend itself to a movie. I don't see it really becoming a feature film with the story that's there. I don't know. I hope cinema goes that way and it becomes that kind of film and gets a mainstream release. But what we're trying to do right now is make... that's the actually thought I had when we had a Delhi launch, and I shared it with Bilal and Lucen, that I felt that this should be made into a documentary, which is something I seriously want to think about. Because when I came down to talking to a lot of people here and seeing the case studies of people who have been treated with of cancer with the conventional treatments here, and also there's a holistic way of looking at things. There's an alternative way which is not mainstream. So 95% of the times you will feel that oncology is the way to go. That go and get your chemotherapy and radiation, which is fine, but you also have to understand that there are other ways where people have been treated through nutritional intervention, and it has worked for them. I've spoken to people who have cured themselves of 4th stage cancer with nutritional intervention. After a certain age, you cannot get chemotherapy. It plays havoc with your body. My mom passed away at the age of 70 2 months ago. She didn't die of the cancer. She died because the chemotherapy created havoc in her body and she couldn't get off the bed. So it would have been best for her to go through a nutritional plan, because after a certain age you can't deal with that chemotherapy. So these are the options, and this is the kind of information that needs to get out to people, and people don't have this information on their side. So I think the documentary would really help telling people about the alternative treatments, and also about, of course, conventional is something that I still stand by. It saved my son's life, but if you have a synergy of both treatments, it goes a long way.
Also, what was the reason you took Ayan to Canada and not India? Was it because they have better medical facilities there?
Our medical facilities are no less. I felt the environment there is great to recuperate, because pollution is one thing that causes it. There's one way of looking at it. Cancer is actually a symptomatic response of the body. The amount of toxins you throw into it is going to play up one day. And in his case, it was a genetic malfunction because he was too young. But going to Canada, the air there, the kind of food that he would get, he could have access to organic food to kind of recuperate through this and get his immunity back, was very essential. And also over there, they have a field which we don't have here, which is something that I would want to see in India, is psychosocial oncology. That does not is the psychology of patients and parents when they go through treatment. It scars you. It's something that probably I feel me and my wife need to go for a counseling session after this, because there's a deep-rooted fear in us after we have gone through an incident like this, and Canada has that. So I didn't want him to change as a person, because he was this vibrant force of nature, which he still is, and that he's not changed at all. So this is because I wanted the environment to be great, and it's not changed in one bit. The entire, he used to have the chemotherapy. Next moment he was out conversing with the doctors, the nurses. Everyone knew Imran Hasmi. Everyone knew who he was when he used to enter the floor. So.
इमरान, आपका नाम आता है और किस साथ में आता है, तो फिर बुक का भी नाम किस रखा है, कोई खास वजह है?
ये इसकी वजह हुसैन सर हैं, क्योंकि जब हम इस किताब का टाइटल ढूंढ रहे थे तो बहुत सारे टाइटल के ऑप्शंस मैंने दिए. जनरली बिलाल इन टाइटल्स ऑप्शन से सहमत रहते थे, लेकिन हुसैन सर कहते थे कि नहीं, कुछ जम नहीं रहा है, वो मज़ा नहीं आ रहा है. और ही यूज्ड टू टेल मी दैट ये कभी कभी आ जाता है थॉट प्रोसेस. आप एयरप्लेन में बैठे हैं, आप कहीं जा रहे हैं और आपको सोचने की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ती है, बस टाइटल आ जाता है. सो आई थिंक दैट डे आई डोंट कुक नॉर्मली. आई वाज कुकिंग एन ऑमलेट एट होम and I had given him so many title options which he said no for, and suddenly this thing came to my mind, Kiss of Life. तो मैंने बिलाल को फ़ोन किया. मैंने बोला कि मिली को फ़ोन करके बोल देना कि एक टाइटल मैंने ढूंढ लिया, Kiss of Life. She is not going to say no to this, I know that. So Bilal called her up. In 2 minutes he called me back and said, he was laughing on the phone. He said that they've got a very marketable title, Kiss of Life. So that's how the title came about. And of course the tagline is something we thought about earlier. The earlier titles that I had given were things like Don the Cape, Superhero Kids. लेकिन I get Hussein's point कि it was not a personal thing. और इसमें कुछ अगर आप मेरी फिल्मों का ये निकाल दो इससे reference, तो it is life affirming, Kiss of Life. There's certain optimism in that. Forget about all my films. Get that visual out of your head. Right. So that's what I guess Kiss of Life brings forth.
Imran, your performance as Azhar was highly appreciated, but the movie didn't collect much money at the box office. Any disappointments on that front?
I am very, very happy with the reception the film has got, and I'm very happy with the messages, with the adulation that people have given for the performance in the film. These counting pennies and dimes, trade wale karte rehte hain. But we are very happy as a team that we, made a film that we started off with very proud of, and we ended up achieving that. And the audience that had to go and see it, they loved it. For me, it's an accomplishment all the way.
We also heard that when Ayan was going through that treatment, there were times when he was alone with his mom, Parveen. So, could you tell us those times when she handled it alone herself?
That she can say, but I think it was very testing for her because I was not there. She had to take him to hospital every week, and there were these drugs that were administered to him, chemotherapy drugs, and the reactions used to be very, very strong. When kids have chemotherapy, I didn't know about this. I was hearing it on the phone, on Skype. I used to converse with them, but he used to sometimes throw up 10 times a night. So there used to be a bucket kept next to him, next to the bed after he took a chemotherapy drug. And for 2 days, he used to bring up all the food, and he started losing hair, and he started getting these very weird side effects called foot drop. The foot used to go limp, and he used to get pins and needles in his hands and his feet. So she was dealing with all of it. I couldn't have done it without her. She was really this pillar of strength that got Ayan and me and the entire family through this. And for some reason, he's walked out. He's bored. His father's yapping a bit too much.
So, yes. One question.
Yeah.
So, a dream come true. I am sitting in with you here. So, I just want to ask something regarding your new movie. Would you like to share something with your fans regarding the upcoming movie?
Right now, there's only Raj reboot that's releasing in September 19th. And it's a bit of a Raj right now, so we'll unfold it very soon when the promo's out. Promo should be out in the next 2 weeks. So 19th of September is the next release.
So,
Yes,
the finest come out.
let her ask. The girl you expect.
Yes.
It did change me, as I said before. It did change me a lot as a person. I love to be grateful for all the small things that life has given me and not complain as much. I think, you heard him telling the story of Ayan bringing up the food, and I'm sure it pretty much made everyone here a little queasy. It turns out to be one of hope. So I guess we are not telling a sad story here. It's the story of how from the sadness we found hope, and luckily all's well that ends well. That's the takeaway from the book. It leaves you inspired. I think it will get everyone pretty happy the way it ends at that note, and optimistic. That's pretty much what we kind of wanted the takeaway from this book to be. Thank you.
Imran sir, yes. I'd like to ask you a question. I became your friend after watching Jannat movie. I would like to, when Jannat will release, I'm very excited about Jannat series.
I was sitting with the director last night only. I was telling him to make the film. He's looking for a script. So if the script aa jayegi, to I'll definitely tweet about it. Kerala, hopefully when Raj releases, I'll come to your city. Where exactly you place?
All right, we'll just
we might tour Kerala during Raj release.
We'll just take one.
Yeah, I know you're not missing it. You might see a bit of it in Raj. I know. You might see a bit of it in Raj. So I'm getting back to that again. Thank you so much. Of course you can come. My wife is there. Say hi to my wife.
I'd like to invite Parveen to come up on stage and please join us. Please come up on stage. All right. Let's get the superhero up on stage. Come. Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you for being here and being part of the event. I'd like to thank Tidal Waves and all our panelists this evening, Bilal, Imran, Hussain, and of course Ayan. We have the author here to sign copies for you. In case you want to get an autographed copy, this is your chance.
Sir. Go, ma'am.
Don't push now. Just go back. Go back. Walk back. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You got your signed copy? Excuse me, ma'am. एक सेकंड आपको मिल क्यों बना Sir, can you please form a queue? Where is the queue? I can't see the queue. If you want signed copies, I want to see a queue. Otherwise, nobody is getting it.
यहाँ से कोई भी नहीं जाएगा.
Hi. Okay, chalo.
Please stand in the queue, don't push like that.
Guys, keep moving. Relax, guys, relax. भाई आगे से हट जाओ.
Message you. Jihan.
Where's my, after finding a chappal, where's my father? Where's my dad?
I'll get him, I'll drop him, and I also need to talk to you with Bilal.
Even I want to talk to you.
Sir, Imran sir, at least one selfie.
Go.